This is the Intermission Podcast.
We want to get to know our homeboys and homegirls and invite you into our space.
It's a whole mood of positivity.
The Intermission Podcast. Welcome back to the Intermission Podcast, A Break with Your Homegirls.
And this is part 3 of Men Are Trash. Well, let me ask my homeboy.
That's right, it's roll call. You know what time it is. I'm Jessica E. Williams, aka CEO J. Will.
And I'm Jessie Denise.
And I am Ivana.
Part 3. Let's go. I feel like this generation is taking on the job of trying to figure out, okay, where does emotional life fit for a man now, as opposed to in past, generations, no indictment on them because they have other stuff they were dealing with. But like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of like stuff that emotion, or like, don't think about that because you got to survive, or like you got people to feed, or like you got a whole household to take care of. Like you don't have time to deal with that. Whereas now I feel like for, our generations, we're really finding the importance of like, oh no, you have to grapple with mental and emotional health because it affects how you directly deal with everything else you're dealing with. So you could be as successful as you want to career-wise. You can have all the money in the world. You know what I mean? You can have, that ideal person. But if these parts of you that make you, right, that are part of your evolution and your journey by yourself, without anybody else, about you becoming a better person, if those things are out of whack or, completely being ignored or stuffed and bottled down, then that stuff is going to come out in unhealthy, toxic, trash ways, which is what we're talking about. But I think that it's almost an interesting conversation because it's kind of a new space, I feel like, for men to be able to be like, oh yeah, this is something we should actually be trying to focus on and work on in a different way. Jess, you got something?
Yeah, so do you guys just have to be like very self-aware and unpackage that by yourselves?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's what it sounds like. So, but I'm really asking because, being a woman, I got all these ladies to help me unpack stuff. And literally probably in the last 2 years, I actually been doing more work on myself, on evolving and identifying those feelings and where they came from and stuff like that. But do you guys just have to do it yourself? You don't have nobody to like bounce that off of?
No, you gotta, as a man, as a black man, most of the times, you gotta discover that. You gotta discover that you need that on by yourself most of the times. You know what I mean? Like then there's places for you to find it. But then that's a whole new search that you gotta make. And it's not so prevalent, but you can find it. But to know that you even need to find that, that's the one that happens on your own sometimes. You know what I mean? Because you're like, something around you is like, this woman ain't happy with my pops, or this woman ain't happy. My mom ain't happy with this man that she's dealing with. My mom ain't happy with this man she's dealing with. Or, you know what I mean? Or my friend's girl ain't happy with him. Like maybe something about this life ain't right. These desires. So maybe something about, just get money and bag as many chicks as possible ain't right. You know what I mean? Maybe something, you know what I mean? And then you got to start saying, maybe I've been led astray a little bit. You know what I mean? Because this is the thing I hated. Even up until I want to say about 20, 25, maybe probably even 29 even, I would still hear people say, oh, brother, you still young. You know what I mean? You can still mess around. You're like, you ain't got to take nothing too serious yet. I mean, I heard that mess way into my life. Like, I'm like, until you start looking, till you start figuring out on your own, like, when am I supposed to take life seriously?
Mm-hmm.
When am I supposed to take women's feelings and relationships seriously? Because I just heard so many people, like guys, older women, I mean, even older women sometimes. Oh, you still young. You still young. You ain't got. I'm like, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's people married now. They got houses around this age. You know what I mean? There's people doing things like setting up business like and it's not even the business part wasn't there, but I'm talking about even just relational, since that's what we're talking about. You know, like relational wise, you like and I say now, I would like to tell even a young dude, like, hey, take this relationship serious. And if you don't want her, tell her and leave and get away from it. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't like we were definitely schooled to have fun. You know what I mean? And fun was defined as, you know, play around with somebody's emotions, play around, have, you know, well, this is what I say I was. I'm not gonna say we, because I don't know how even Knight or any of other dudes, but a lot of dudes I know were raised, you know, keep playing, have fun, don't trip, man. That is just, you know, don't take that seriously. Like, you know, you had to find out. I don't like having to have this discussion off of stuff that didn't mean much to me, but this person crying in my face right now. You know what I mean? Like, they crying, you know, is after a while you like, something I did this, you know.
Yeah. Yep. And then I feel too, with us being in entertainment, it's even more where they're like, just wait. I remember a casting director came into one of my acting classes, and everything about the casting was great, but the one thing that she said that stuck with me, she was like, get married, have children, don't let people tell you to wait until your career pops off, because that happens with us a lot. And then you look up and a lot of us actors are 45, 50 and just now getting married and don't have no kids. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I feel like they always tell, especially the women, like, it's better now, but like back when we first started doing this, you couldn't tell nobody you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a child. Or I remember I had a modeling agency that wanted to sign me, but they were like, you can't say you have a kid. And I was like,
Why would I do that?
I'm sorry. Like, it was a big agency, and I was like, I can't, like, I just can't do that, you know. But there are people who have done it, and I think for our generation, that was kind of a setback, because then we're looking up and we're like, oh, I've wasted all these years, you know, all my prime years just running around having fun. And now it's like, hey, and granted, y'all can have babies till you're 70.
No, they can't.
But with who?
Look, swim.
Look, but with who though?
So Knight, did you have something to add to that about processing or having someone to process that with, or do you just have to do it yourself?
I mean, I process it with people, but I for sure process a lot with self. There's definitely, you know, but I spend a lot of time with self, you know, and I think that's a good thing at the same time. It's not idle time. So I do, like I said earlier, I spend a lot of time meditating, self-reflecting, whatever it is I do, like trying to go into, you know, deeper within self. But actually, like once I seek my advice, I'm gonna sit with myself on that advice, or just like go off of past experiences. But I wanted to touch on something that Brandon was saying, and I think, like, as you said it, it kind of hit me, like these cats that was telling us, like, hey man, you know, do what you do, man. You know, you gotta stay out there, you know, be young while you can. And like, there's two thoughts that I had about that. One, I was like, man, like, was they just telling us that because it helps them live, it helps them feel better about themselves for how they was rocking back in the day? You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, and two, at the same time, like, for whatever, like, with men, we like, older generations, society doesn't police our bodies like they police women's bodies, right?
Big facts.
And so I think my only problem with it, like I would probably be 100% okay with it, like that mentality, if it was also like the mentality which you like kind of told young women. If you was like, yo, you know, live your life. It's like, if it was equal, I would be okay with it. But the fact that it's not, it comes as men control. It's in a weird way, like them telling us to do what we want to do is in some way saying young women can't do what they want to do. I don't know if that makes any sense, but for me, that's why I just feel that it, in a weird way, it's just saying that young men we're taught from a young age that the world is ours, when really this shit's not. But that's what we're being taught.
And I think it's what we talked about in terms of like men and women often doing this, like just based on, you know, like we've said, either how you're raised or how you're reared or societally what you're taught. And it is one of those things. I never even thought about, you know, policing of bodies, but it's literally like you're telling this group of people to go sow their wild oats and do all this and this, that, and the third. And like, maybe you give young women like a little bit of leeway to do that, but then their minds kick into another gear. But these dudes are still out here doing this. So it's like, at what point does the meeting of the minds come together, right? Without somebody feeling like, you know, you guys were talking about trapped in the app, like, who are we getting ready for? Because we out here doing all this and y'all out here still running and doing your thing. So it's like, it's a unbalanced situation. And I think what I'm hearing in both of you all's points is that, you know, and I don't even know if it's just an American thing. I don't know if I could put it down to that, but you know, it's immaturity is celebrated. Yeah. Stay young forever is celebrated, but young in like all the worst ways. You know what I mean? Like, as much lack of responsibility as you could take on, do it. You know what I mean? As much as, you know, lack of personal self-awareness you could do it. Just keep doing stuff. You know what I mean? And like, you might land on your feet at some point, but I think a lot of it is like, you're celebrated for continuing to be immature, not tied down, and just free to roam and do what you want whenever you want to do it.
And it stifles family. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden you don't get a family. You may make a family, but it ain't a family. You know what I mean? Like you make babies that have parents that don't want to be together, or you know, you don't have people that love each other and have agreed that we're gonna do this thing seriously and grow a unit out of it. You know what I mean? So it's like it really helps to stifle our growth as a community.
They're telling us to prepare, and then they're telling y'all to have fun.
Right.
Well, I think I even like because I'm just thinking as we're saying these things, and I'm wondering like, where does the have fun part also land in today's day and age, and where does it come from? And as a man, I feel that one, internally, I'm not comfortable, because I know as a black man, we talking like that's the only experience we got is that as black men, we both have a lot of pressure, black men and black women. And as men, we don't want to be in a position to where we can't provide for no family.
Right.
Like I don't. So sometimes it's like, well, shoot. So I'm trying to grind and get to a certain point, and I was like, I'm not even thinking like about this hypothetical family. I'm just trying to get to my point so I'm cool. So that way I can, then at that point, I can plan for the family properly how I need to. And I think subconsciously that might play, I'm just thinking of thoughts that might subconsciously play a role in. So, but during that time while you grinding, it's like, are you not gonna have fun? Because so the woman, she's over here waiting, and you like, I don't even got all my shit together to really, you ready, and I'm sorry, baby. Like, so then it's like, damn, he ain't got his stuff together. You know, I can't rock with him. So, you know, he didn't have no money, girl. So it is what it is. And I think on the flip side, I think women get a bad rap on that too. Just that is that sometimes we categorize like, oh man, she ain't dating a dude that don't got his stuff together. She's a gold digger. No, bro, she just wants stability in her life.
Right. Security and stability for sure.
It's like there's a difference in, you know. But yeah, I just as we say that, I just wonder if that piece is coming from of us having fun. Is kind of like until we get there, because I know that I couldn't necessarily think of a family until I got certain things in order.
Right.
Like things were like moving in a certain way.
Yeah. which we would say is responsible. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like nobody would be like, we don't care about you not having your stuff together. Like, we just trying to be like, no, anybody rationally, like, if you are really trying to build long-term, like, yeah, that's something that should be together.
Yeah.
So I get it.
And that's something I've heard my female friends have said too, though, is you got dudes who got money, but they ain't got no, they don't have any relationship maturity. You know what I mean? So they all they can do is sit up there.
Right.
They've been busy grinding, and then you know, like because I've seen the toll, and I try to when I teach kids, like older kids, like teenagers, but I try to teach the boys, like, chill out, don't believe the hype of, you know, it's cool to sleep with as many girls as you can, because I was like, the thing is, you know, the positions of sex make it look like you're taking something from the woman. A lot of times you're getting something from the woman or whatever. But what's happening is something else. Vaughn may have heard me say it before, but something being taken from the man too, which is, well, what I've experienced was the ability to choose a good wife sometimes. You know what I mean? Because now you over here, you've been with so many different women. You've seen so many different body styles, types, all this stuff, and you praise body styles. So now all of a sudden, you might have some good women in your face, but you trying to build this Frankenstein woman that's got, you know, the face of her, the butt of her, the tits of her, you know what I mean, the personality of her, the laugh of this girl, you know what I mean? And it's like, you done experience so many different women in your playing that you can't stop playing, because you're even your search is a game. You know what I mean? Your search is piecing together something that's never really going to materialize. It's never going to come out to be what you ain't going to be that perfect body of every girl that you've been with, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so now you got money, but you ain't got no maturity, you know, and now you messing around still breaking hearts, you know what I mean? Because you can take them all over the place. They think, oh man, he took me to here, he took me to there, or he took me out to this beautiful restaurant there or here. And now, but all of a sudden he can't commit to you, or, you know what I mean? And because we ain't taught to commit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and even we can be taught to jump into a commitment, but we can't be taught when like over time it's shown that we can commit quick, but we can't keep a commitment. We can't stay consistent in it. You know what I mean? So some dudes be like, no, I'm the type of man, I'm gonna say I want you now, and I want you. And next thing you know, the minute some things be going on, they're like, man, I don't want you.
I take it back.
Do the work. I don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
But
I will say I got. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, everything you was just saying. A homie told me that. A homie pretty much told me. He checked me one time, and he's like, "Yo, bro, how long you gonna be out here just wilding?" And I was like, "Hey, man, like when I meet her, I meet her." And he's like, "That's not okay." You know, he was about to get him. He was on the route of like he was focusing on one girl, and he, you know, eventually got married. And he was like, "That's not how it works." And I'm like, "What you mean?" He's like, if you're not practicing for that, and then you think you automatically gonna meet her, and then you're gonna be ready to just be like, all right, I'm ready to settle now, and it's gonna be good, and I'm done dealing with her and her and her. It's like, nah, bro, you can't just cut it off like that, because once you get the payment, it's still gonna be there. He's like, you got to start practicing. Like he told me, if that's what you want, you got to start practicing for that. I was like, oh shoot,
that's real.
Yes,
You know,
right.
How you start is how you finish. You can't be out here just with everybody and then you be like, it's time for me to commit now. So I'm so ready for this. You be like, based on what? What evidence do we have to show that?
These bodies,
bro, super fun.
These bodies, they know muscle memory, yo. They know muscle memory, yo. That's for real. So it's like, I seen my friends, you know, and they married and they just be like they talking to a girl, like they talking to people. And then this one girl come up, talk to them, and they be like, yeah, so da, da, da. And it's like your body knows how to flirt. You know, you've trained yourself to just be willy-nilly to flirt with whoever's attractive to you. You know what I mean? So your voice goes down, everything. You like this. And I nudged, I said, hey, bro. I said, I said, that voice right there, homie. You know, I was like, your voice. I was like, you went into
the voice. You know the voice.
Yeah, we know the voice. You know, we know the voice. We know the eye contact. The non-breaking of the eye contact while you talk to them the whole time, and everything. You know, like we know all that stuff. But if we ain't practicing not deceiving them, or if we practicing to deceive them, we're not gonna just not deceive them when we claim we don't want to deceive them no more. You know what I mean? We're gonna still start deceiving them with our nonverbals still, or whatever like that, you know?
Yeah. Because you're practiced.
We're practiced. The body knows, yo. The body, it takes things from the frontal lobe and puts it into the subconscious the longer you do it. Once you do that, it's gonna move on its own, you know?
Yep. So what would y'all say, and this is just to give, you know, pictures for people, right? And we're talking about in terms of evolving, growing, getting rid of emotional baggage. So what would you say, and these are general terms, please don't give no names, like we don't protect the innocent, you don't have to say it to you, okay? Examples for people who might not know, like what does it look like for a man to still be carrying a certain level of emotional baggage, right, that he hasn't unpacked? Like what does that look like, right, when you say, like, in terms of, like, you know, we're in a spot where we're doing emotional labor now, and you know, we working on your stuff. So like for either a man who maybe has never had to reconcile with the fact that, like, bro, you carrying around emotional baggage, or a woman who might be in the middle of an emotional labor situation with a man, or vice versa. What does that look like for a man? Because like we've been saying, y'all might not necessarily have the verbals and all that stuff to get that stuff across. So what does that look like for a man?
I for sure never told a homie, hey dog, this is emotional baggage you carrying.
It's emotional baggage you carrying.
I've never said that.
Right? Never.
That sounds nasty. That sounds. If the homie hits me up and says, hey man, we need to talk about your emotional baggage, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, you need to get out my face.
You gonna pause them first? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, hold up, pause. Like, you need to get out my crib, bro. I don't know who you, but
maybe he's a trained therapist. You don't know, but go ahead. So what? He could be. But like I said, y'all not gonna ever say that. So since it's not gonna be said, it must look a particular way.
If my people, like, if I'm not one, I'm never gonna tell another grown adult how to maneuver. You know, I'm not their parent. I'm not, like, if you my close friend, like, I don't have sometimes, I only got close friends. So if we friends, that means I can keep it real with you. And if you messing up in an area of your life, I'm gonna let you know about it. And I guess if you messing up, that's like, so if I feel that you're doing something that's off, I'm gonna tell you, regardless of, like, even if I'm noticing it as emotional baggage or not. I'm just gonna let my people know when they messing up, and if they bring something to me that they want to talk about, then I'll let them. I'm not gonna tell them what they want to hear. I'm gonna tell them what they need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, I don't know what it look. I don't know what it specifically looks like for a man, or like, you know, we may have other things that we deal with as men specifically, but I just feel as a human being, we all going through things. We all got traumas that we dealing with, and we all got everyday pressures and things that's going on. And, you know, a lot of times we got to bottle that stuff up, especially especially if you're a black woman and a black man in America, for sure. So, like, you know, I've read that thing. It's like, dang, like being black in the US is having a good day, and then seeing on the news that another black person was killed, and then you got to deal with that or not deal with it. And then, so that's emotional, you know, labor that you got to go through, and then you still got to work and pay your bills. So I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. I just know that if I'm chopping it up with my people, I'm always checking in. So if I say what's going on with you, like, I would expect that we have a relationship. You tell me what's really going on, and if we got to talk, we got to talk. But I don't think it looks like. I think with black people, we all black people got emotional baggage.
Right, of course.
We all got emotional baggage.
So So I think for me, just in terms of, and I'm not, trying to speak for anybody, but I've noticed, right? More Black men specifically, more emotional, angry outbursts, right? So it's not like, and usually when somebody's angry, like that could be their base emotion, like just they're mad about something, but usually there's something underneath that, right? So like we're saying, since language is not necessarily y'all's forte, right? But I've even noticed, like an everyday ordinary task of just like, we gonna put the dishes away, but you putting the dishes away, you slamming things around, the cabinets is going, right? I done seen walls be punched. I done seen some things. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and y'all might, because it's what you do naturally, y'all be like, oh, is that what's going on? Yeah, 9 times out of 10, but you're not gonna say that though. You gonna go outside, you gonna get you some brown liquor, you gonna play some music. You know what I mean? You gonna get a cigar popping, you feel me? Like there are certain things you're gonna do. Do you know what I'm saying? You gonna go out, you might smoke a little something, you know what I'm saying? So like in the moment, you know what I mean? You'd be like, that's just me unpacking. That's how I'm releasing my stress. But most of the time, there's a lot of emotions under those activities. And then we go, hey, what's wrong? You like, nothing is wrong with me. I'm good. Like, let me go. I'm good. Don't ask me nothing. I'm good. And we're like, okay, sure. If that's your final answer, we're gonna let you go with that. Okay. On who wants to ignore their emotional feelings today? Okay. That's your final answer. So I'm saying all that to say, to me, those are some of the things that I've noticed as a Black woman dealing with a Black man to be like, oh, something is going on here that might be a little bit more than what you're saying. There might be some feelings under there. So I'm just saying. Do you guys want to add anything to that?
I can more.
Yeah, you have more specifics there, so I can rock with that. One, yeah, I don't know about the slamming the cabinets thing and all that. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing, right? But I can only go off like definitely in the past. Like if I was angry or something, and this is like if you mad at whoever, like a homie or whatever, like yeah, we punch walls. Like we've done that. Like I know we've done that. We like you angry, you about to get in a fight, but you don't want to get in a fight. But I think one, I'm not gonna say that testosterone is the only reason, but I do think that it's just like if we just talking from a biological way, I know sometimes like anger used to get up in me, and maybe it's like, yo, I gotta punch the wall because I don't wanna punch nobody because nobody deserves to be punched. Yeah. So right now this wall about to get hit.
Damn, poor wall.
Wow, the poor wall, right? Poor wall.
Wall, like what I do?
Like what I do. But then you heard it in your hand is
damn.
Like down and messed up my hand or whatever. But I think like as like especially like a young man like just going through, I think like stuff like that, just those outbursts. I don't know where it's attributed from. Like if it's a way of like in which we're raised in terms of environment, just in terms of again like if testosterone plays a part of that, just our chemical makeup. But I will say that we haven't necessarily developed, if that happens, we haven't necessarily developed the same tools in which to deal with certain things. Mm-hmm. And I think if those like are the examples you're using, Jess, it sounds like in those cases, it would be an individual just reverting back to their base level of how to deal with stuff. Mm-hmm. So, because if you run into the liquor, that's a problem. Like, if that's your way to like cope with whatever you're doing, that's a problem because it's a coping mechanism. Mm-hmm. If you gotta smoke something, like yeah, of course it's to relax. But if you rely on that, if you're relying on it to cope, and that's your only way to cope through stuff, then that's a problem. And I just feel it goes back to like from a young age, we're not given the same tools and how to deal with stuff. But as what's crazy is because once you're an adult, then it's your personal responsibility to take care of that.
Mm.
Yep.
So like it's like, damn, you didn't have your whole life to work on this, but nobody told you had to work on this, and now you're a grown man, and you like, well, what do I do? And people like, you on your own. And now if you respond in certain ways, it's like if you a black man and you just raise your voice slightly, you're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
hopefully,
yeah.
Right.
Like, hopefully jail, right?
Hopefully the jail.
Right.
Hopefully
And
jail.
I actually think that's a great point, right? Brandon, I'm gonna let you go. But
Go for it.
I think that's a great point in terms of, and I was even gonna bring up other stuff. You know, you see little boys breaking toys, you know what I mean, or crying but not wanting to be seen crying, and then, you know,
Be a man,
fighting.
boy, be a man.
Yeah, fighting, and it's like it all shows up in different ways, right? But then you add another layer of if that's how suppressed emotions or emotional baggage is being displayed, right? But now you like, okay, I'm dealing with that. I'm already suppressing it. But then if you go into a situation where as a black male now, you know what I mean, those emotions ain't going nowhere. But if you express those emotions at the wrong time in the wrong place, which always feels like never is the wrong, it's always the wrong time in the wrong place, right? Whether it's with your parents, your father, your mother, your girl, your sister, your brother, that's always the wrong time anyway. But then if you put in a law enforcement situation, right, or a situation now where like things could escalate quickly, now your emotions are also charging on 12, as we've talked about, you know, as this is going on. Minneapolis is burning, right? So now that gives you yet another space to not feel comfortable to unpack these emotional baggage, emotional trauma, emotional pain, emotional distress. So that I feel like that's another layer for black men specifically about now. Not only is it never the right time to show your emotions, but now showing your emotions can get you killed.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brandon. I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, also waiting for it to be a stressful situation for you to unpack your emotions makes a problem. You know what I mean? Like waiting for, you know, not wanting to deal with it. I'm good now. I'm good. And we good. You know what I mean? Like, but then until the next situation and everything. And then for me, the emotional baggage, it can come from anywhere because it came from I think two that I can note came from a past relationship where I've mentioned it to y'all last time, where I don't like mean people. You know what I mean? Like people that can hold grudges long or can hold you out and just mean like that. And then argumentative. You know what I mean? Like I don't like, and that didn't come from just a relationship. It did actually, but it came from a relationship, and then it was reinforced by family. Hope I don't get in trouble. My cousin may say, but so that's all I'm saying there. But when I say that, now I'm going to say a wife who like not even just a wife, but a relationship, a husband and wife who argue so hard and so ugly and can't hear each other. You know what I mean? So when people are monologuing in their anger, you know what I mean, where they're literally no longer in a not a relationship, but no longer in a conversation with the other individual, but it's just, and I don't know, the person over here, and they're like, and who in the world, and I mean they just going on, and it's just like
the other person is not even involved,
not even in their visual space, not even in their mental space. They're just red with and letting it out, and like literally like you can't even reason with, you can't like when I've seen that, and so I was going to even ask, because how much of that is emotional baggage for me versus I'm older and I'm like, I know what I don't want to deal with. You know what I mean? Like so there was one time where I have said, you know what, this ain't gonna work, and you know, it may have seemed kind of quick, but I was just like, that kind of thing is going to take some time to work out. And I don't know, like at a certain age, I don't think I have the kind of time to work with that. You know what I mean? So that like I don't, and then that could have come from emotional baggage, and sad enough that it had to happen at that time. But now I don't feel willing to take the time to, you know, work that out, because I one thing I look at and I've learned over time, I'm like, everybody can change. A lot of people don't. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so some of my mentors have said, if you're looking at somebody for marriage, you got to look at them and say, hey, if nothing else changed about this person, if this issue never changed, if they never fixed it, if nothing ever stopped, if this didn't ever change, are you willing to be with this for the rest of your life? And at this age, you got to be like, yes or no. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not making no real laws. You can still deal with this up until you're 50 if you were me, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's it called? It's like, yeah. So emotional baggage looks like what you've experienced, even through your parents, seeing how they relate to each other. You know, seeing how, you know, how your friends' parents, if you didn't, you know what I mean? Like whatever you are projecting you want, and then whoever you've seen go through the steps of what you want a certain way. You know what I mean? So if you want to own a business, but you've seen somebody fail at businesses, that's kind of like emotional baggage. If that person failing has affected you and caused you stress, caused you angst, caused you something, now you thinking about owning a business, but you are scared, you're afraid to. You know, it's the same thing with relationships. It's like if you see a relationship, but either you went through some terrible stuff or you seen some terrible things that you thought that this friend's parents were great, but now you see they divorcing, or your parents were great, but now they're divorced. You know what I mean? And now you like, man, I don't even know if I trust marriage. You know what I'm saying? So now that's what emotional baggage uh comes off, because what I've had to look at is like, I am not that person. Like I look at an older man and a woman, and you know, and they're close to me. You know what I mean? So I look at like, oh, I might become this, but it's like, you don't have to become that. So that's my fight with the emotional baggage. I'm like, you don't have to become what you've seen. You know what I mean? You don't have to become what you've experienced.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on what you just said, then I would look at emotional baggage as we all as humans are progressing and journeying, and we pick up things along the way. But then certain things, depending on how emotionally traumatic they can be for us, start to become our standard and our barometer for things. And once that becomes sort of your standard and your norm or your expectation that you're already sort of putting out there, oftentimes you get that thing back. And so then that becomes confirmation of like, oh no, this is exactly what I thought it was. Or what you're saying is, if you're at a level of hopefully where you're working on yourself, working on your self-awareness, you can say, okay, this is a thing that exists, is out there, it could happen, but I'm responsible for myself and the type of person that I, you know, want to be and what I'm bringing to this relationship or this situation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let me look at myself and see like how I don't want to be like that, or I don't want to emulate that, or I don't want to practice that. And so, you know, again, it comes back to, you know, self-responsibility, self-awareness, and you being able to look at those things and be like, I really like that, I really don't like that. Like, why is this person doing this? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and being able to unpack those things. So,
And I'd say just communication too, because
absolutely.
if you can see it and call it out, if you can tell that person, because you know, I like to give a person a opportunity. You know what I mean? So if I can tell that person, this is what I've experienced, this is what I'm working with, this is what I'm, you know, I don't want to be a part of, kind of thing, and I don't want to put them on notice like, yo, I'm out if you do it. But I want to let them know that you want to let them know that you got a soft spot for this area. You know what I mean? And so now if they know that, you get to see what they do with it. Like, you know, even if you let them know like, yo, we venturing into this area. I mean, we talked about that I don't feel comfortable in, and now, you know, you see what they do with that. You know what I mean? If they say, I don't give a damn about this area right now, you know what I mean? Like, you know, then it's like, okay, you know what I mean? But like, if it's like, well, look, I'm not trying to make you feel like this, but I got to let you know that, you know, if they acknowledge it and they trying to work it through and say, look, this ain't that. I'm not trying to be that, but I need to let you know what you did. You know what I mean? Like, you want to, it's nice if you can let somebody know where your soft spots are, because now you're giving them the opportunity to handle them, and you get to see how they handle your soft spots. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't have to hide your emotion. Well, we don't want to, and I say it easily that you don't have to. We still feel like we have to, but if you do reveal some of your emotional baggage, you might give somebody the opportunity to work with it differently than what's it called? Than they would have if they never knew about it. You know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden they had an emotional moment. They came off mean. You think it's gonna be like this for the rest of your life? Yeah, I'm peace. I'm out. You know what I mean? Because you ain't never told them that this is what you didn't like or didn't want to deal with.
Yeah, you just ready. Peace out, and you haven't communicated.
Done. I'm out.
Yeah, and hopefully it's a person you build trust with. You've had time to develop a relationship. I think that's the other danger is, people be sharing too much too soon, and people be like, "Ooh, okay, I didn't." Well, I'm trying to know all that right now. So don't rush to be like, look at all my bags. And I just want like, okay, wait a minute, time out.
Right, yes.
Not at that point yet. So back it up, give it time, establish trust with people, and then, little by little, start to deal with that stuff. And also, don't just wait till the person is there. I go to therapy and I love it. And I pay somebody to sit there and be like, I would like to unpack this thing today. And they gave me great coping skills and great mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes that's cost prohibitive to people, but in this pandemic situation, there's all kinds of things that you can find somebody to talk to for free. Like if that's your persuasion, it really helps, because I think to your point, Brandon, where you're talking about when people get in them angry emotional monologues, or like people want to start going off on you, like that's something you should be working on by yourself with yourself. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm bringing this to the table right now to address that with you, but you want to start going off on tangents and doing all this other stuff, when again, that's part of your own self-awareness work, right? Evolution in terms of getting better. That's something you could be doing by yourself if you want to work through those things. And then relationally, when you come with somebody else, then you have things on the table and you can clearly communicate those things without all that other stuff muddling the emotional, mess of that. So I think those are all great things. Now, this is the last thing. Now, we want to sort of imagine going forward, right? We don't know where our society is going to head after this whole pandemic situation and further into the future, okay? So we just wanted to do like a musing question into the future. So, and Brandon, you already sort of mentioned this. If you had a son, a nephew, a mentor, maybe somebody you're mentoring down the line, what do you think you will want to communicate with them about their evolutionary journey as a man and their sort of, emotional journey? What is that going to look like for them? Like, what are some of the things that you would think you would tell them in society? You could even say societally, what do you think will happen going forward with men as we sort of allow them to have space to have emotions without it being a thing, okay? Without us having to belittle you, ridicule you, call you soft and all of that, which is toxic and trash, by the way. Like, if people are opening themselves up to you and sharing things with you, give them the safe space, give them the ground, especially if they're putting trust in you to share this with you. That means they trust you. You've established a little bit of relationship with them. So like, give them that space, let your guard down a bit. Like, what do y'all see, or what do you hope to see with men around evolutionary journey and emotional support and all the things of that nature? Whoever would like to start us off, gentlemen. If anything, y'all like, nah, we want it to stay like this. We're not sharing our emotions with y'all.
Perfect.
Y'all gonna tell y'all kids.
We putting everything close to the cuff, son. You gonna be a man out here.
Shut up. Suck it up.
Suck it up. Are you crying? We crying.
Nah, I right in my head, it was a joke, but kind of serious. I'm like, first and foremost, I'm getting them out of California. Like,
why? Why? What's wrong with California, though?
Yo, honestly, my feelings of California, just growing up on the East Coast, is like, it's so comfort driven, yo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just all this beautiful weather all the time. I like when I grew up on the East Coast where it was cold. The kids had to cut grass. They had to, and they had to, if they wanted to stay out and have a good time, they had to brave some things. You know what I mean? They were like, it's cold. You staying out? Yeah, I'm staying out. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just some real, like, and that's just a joke that I'm serious about. So like, but It's a joke because it's my life and I don't put it on nobody else. But I would definitely, like I said, for emotional wise, I would definitely tell my sons, you know what I mean? Like, take them serious, take a girl serious, you know, have your intentions straight, what you want to do. If you don't want to be here for no more, let her know. And that is one thing I would love to have him do, because he might come up here talking about my parents were married from, they known each other. They started being together from like 10th grade. And so, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just saying that don't make them perfect or nothing. But what I'm saying is, and I know people in high school, sweethearts from like a senior year up. So it's like, it ain't for us to tell, you know, young dudes, young girls that they can't be seriously in love with somebody. You know what I mean? Like of course we gotta say, we can let them know they don't know, like according to this generation, they don't know what love really is. But if they just practice being serious, they might discover it, you know, before we can imagine that they would. You know what I mean? Like if they just if serious is the bedrock foundation of what they doing, you know what I mean? Like serious meaning like, I'm gonna respect you, I'm gonna I like you, I'm gonna talk to you in a respectful way. I'm not gonna you know, I'm not gonna play around on you, because it's the smallest thing where if a boy might want to play around on a girl, and when the father, the brother, the uncle, everybody kind of supports that, like, oh boy, you getting it in, huh? You get, and now it throws them off on one path, or that same situation, they say, hey, what you doing? No, that ain't you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Go to that girl. If you don't want to be with her, tell her that. You know what I mean? And that small little thing, that, you know, the disdainful looks that come from a parent that makes you say, oh, you know, that ain't right. You know what I mean? Like it could be that, you know what I mean? And if you make a culture of that, all of a sudden you're gonna have a whole bunch of good men out there. You know what I mean? And so I would love that to be the case, you know.
Make a culture. I like that. Make a culture of that. That sounds nice.
To make a culture.
Make a culture. Knight, what you got on it?
What I got on it, basically for me, it would just be focused on more just be you, be true to you. Don't get caught up in like what the world tell you. Like be authentically you all the way through and through. I don't think like that would be my name, and have a sense of you know, a values for yourself. You know, so a sense of self-respect, where, you know, for self, and don't let anybody get you, you know, like if you truly don't want to do something, don't do it, you know. Rock with your intuition. I would just give them, I wouldn't tell them what to do and what not to do, like you better not do this. I would give them the tools in order to make the right decisions, because you gonna bump your head out here. You gonna bump your head, like. And I'm not talking like for kids. I'm just talking about if I'm giving anybody any game, you know. I might tell you this is what I would do, and this is why I would do it this way. And I would also just kind of just highlight my own mistakes, because I think a lot of times what happens too much is that for older generations, especially, you know, they telling young folks how to do things based off of, like, they're like, say, like making it seem as if they were perfect. And I'll be the first, like, look, I ain't perfect. And this is like the reason, like, this is why, you know how I know you're doing it wrong? Because I did it wrong. And this is exactly how I messed up doing, and this is what it ended up getting me. Now, hey, you can like, hey, maybe you're gonna do it, and maybe you smarter than me. Maybe you're gonna figure it out. Maybe you a little better than me at it. Maybe it's gonna work out for you. But I would just be real. I just feel a lot of times that advice be too fake out here. Just be too cookie cutter. It's like, be a good person. Like, you know, that whole thing that they used to tell us in school, don't do drugs. It's like, but bro, you know,
be different.
Yeah, like stuff be real easy, and it looks real nice. It looks real nice on paper. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, like, young folks is dealing with real realities, real harsh realities. You know what I'm saying? And like, stuff ain't cookie cutter out here. Like, I'm not trying to give nobody no Sesame Street style lectures.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because the world, as much as like you want people to, as if you're giving a game to like a young kid, as much as you want their lives to be as innocent as possible in terms of like just their childhood and how they maneuvering through it, some folks, I feel like the ones who I would come across with, and the ones who I come across, they got harsh realities. You know, I can speak on my realities, and they don't want to hear nothing fake. Like if I come to them with anything fake, they not gonna take my advice.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna take my advice. They're gonna dismiss me. If I come, you know. So I would just be 100 with them at all times.
Yeah.
Yo, man, this is what you need. Like when you going through this situation, this is the best advice I got for you. So if you hungry, like you shouldn't rob these people. You shouldn't rob nobody, right? You hungry out there. I wouldn't advise that, because this was gonna happen if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand you hungry. So if you do that, I'm not gonna be the one to judge you. I'm gonna try to steer you away from that because I know where it goes. I will tell you not to do that. And because I told you not to do that, and also it's like I definitely ain't giving advice if I can't show them no better way.
Mm.
A lot of times people be giving empty advice. Like, do this. It's like, you shouldn't do that. Like, okay, well, what should I do?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And also, like, my boy told me one time about just in terms of relationship, Brandon, what you were saying about just if we're going on that tip too. I can't give advice to nobody if I haven't had a healthy relationship. And I feel a lot of times cats will give you game and they ain't even been in no healthy relationship. They ain't even in a healthy relationship. They married and not in healthy relationships.
Woo.
They situations messed up,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got that. So I just like, for me, it's just like, even if I'm I'm like, look, no matter what it is, if a young fella comes up to me about some relationship advice, some money advice, whatever it is, I'm just gonna speak my truth, what I know, and not BS them about nothing. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna rock.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to teach people to think for themselves as early as possible, right? So that they have a sense of self early, because I think that's a lot of what we've been saying. The more sort of sense of self you start to have as early as possible, you're less susceptible to start to fall for, all manner of level of foolishness. You're like, nope, this is what rocks for me, and if it don't rock with you, we good. You know what I mean? And I think it is something to be said, like you said, about being as authentic as possible about your life journey, your circumstances, your evolution, the lessons that life has taught you. You give that game to somebody else. It could work for them, it could not, but at least they have that information, and they're left to, their own devices to make their own choices. Mm-hmm. So I think that's all great stuff, man. We're trying to help people. We're trying to help men not be trash, women not be trash, people not be trash. We're tired of trash culture. There's a lot of trash out here. And we're all
that's what we call trash culture. We just society trash. Let's call it what it is.
Right. You heard Brandon. We're trying to make a new culture because we're tired of the one we got. Okay? We're tired. We keep trying to tell y'all that. So anyway, this has been Men Are Trash. Let me ask my homeboy. I want to thank our homeboys y'all have given. Listen, somebody's going to change their life.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
For real.
Somebody's going to change their life circumstances. If you really watch it, if you're not just talking trash because you don't understand the title and you're confused, and you really come and you listen and you watch and you put the time in, your whole paradigm about your life might be shifted. I don't know if you're paying attention. But anyway, I just want to thank our homeboys. Y'all have been amazing. Do y'all want them to follow y'all on anything? Y'all socials? Y'all got any projects coming up? Anything you want to shout out? Let us know real quick. Knight, Brandon, whatever y'all got, let us know. Y'all got anything popping?
Mine's is just what's it called? You can follow me at Brandon Fobbs on anything. That's what it is. Brandon Fobbs, BrandonFobbs. And then there's my production company I'm starting up, Stars and Sand Productions.
So, production company.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, do it yourself, bro.
I love it.
Huh?
Is that what we're doing? We doing snaps on it? All right, that's the vibe.
Mike, what's popping?
What's popping? Look, so y'all can catch me on my Cash App at
Come on. Don't block your blessings. Somebody might want to. Go ahead.
You can catch me on IG at Please No Flowers. That's Please No Flowers. Yeah. I love flowers, but that has this whole separate meaning. We ain't worried about that. But as Please No Flowers, currently right now I'm doing this thing that I started up called Featured Goods, where each for like 7 days, I'll be selling an art piece for a limited time through 7 days, whether that's on a shirt, whether it's some photography I did, whether it's a work of art that I made, but each week will be a new item. So, and once it's gone, it won't be sold anymore. It's gonna be limited like that. So you can, again, go to IG at Please No Flowers, or, go to pleasenoflowers.com. But yeah, just catch me anywhere at Please No Flowers. That's how I rock. That's my moniker. My Cash App is also Please No Flowers.
Hey.
So, this is brand synergy right here. You feel me?
Across all the platforms. Okay?
Yeah, across all platforms.
Question. Night, do you sell merch like shirts and stuff?
I do.
Is that on your IG? Like, can I find the link on your IG?
Yeah, the new one, the featured goods right now. My current one is actually a shirt. I was like, well, actually, I'm in my office, so I can have it right here. You know what I mean? It's I'll check. This is one.
I see.
So this is actually some artwork that I made and some photography that I took. So this is called the Night Priestess Warrior T-shirt. So
put that thing closer to the camera real quick. Let them see it one more time. You know what I mean? Because it's limited time. You know what I mean? If you don't get it now, you ain't gonna get it. I'm just saying. Rock you some art pieces. You know what I mean? Be culture. Because we out here making new culture. You feel me? So
that's right.
Y'all can check a song out I got called Rob a Bank. Yes, it's called Rob a Bank. Check it out on all streaming platforms, and also a song called 100 Pains. That's out. Next one dropping will be called Prosper. But yeah, just go check. Type in Night Rob a Bank on your Spotify, Apple Music. But yeah, I'm just a producer, rapper, all around artist out here.
I can't wait.
Get them streams up.
Hey, all I'm saying is when I get that photography or whatever, it better be signed. Okay? Because I'm just trying to have it worth hecka much in the future.
Okay.
You level up.
All I'm asking is that you make sure
you invested in
one of one. Okay. And signed that thing and dated.
I'm investing in art.
If you want anything from Beyonce and Jay-Z, get your art game.
Before, okay, you pay right now, so that's all we saying, okay. And the night shirts are dope as well. So we gotta figure out, making that happen on the podcast. So we can support you, brother. So on that note, listen, we bid you adieu. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. We hope that y'all are enlightened, challenged. I don't even really care if you're mad, okay? Because I want you to do better, okay? We want you to do better in life overall. So anyways, this is the Intermission Podcast. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Bye.
We'd love to hear from our homies, so feel free to email us at intermissionhg, as in homegirls, that's intermissionhg@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at intermissionhg. Until next time, this has been A Break with Your Homegirls.